Hey guys, um, I want to do a video on this kind of parable dream that Spirit sent me. Been many years now. I'll kind of put a few other dreams in there with it, but if I kind of give like a backstory to this, I have been, I want to say, sort of like a dream walker of sorts since I was young. I've had issues with astral sleeping paralysis, visitations in my dreams between sleeping with my body, my soul going out of my body since I was in junior high. And the astral and sleeping paralysis part. And I do have prophetic dreams, I had very, very strange, I'll go into these probably in another video, very, very strange dreams that predicted 9/11, Katrina. My son, same thing. He's got the gift too. My daughter does sometimes. Like one time she had a dream. She knew it was a warning because the person living in her house was very destructive at the time. And she had a dream of this beautiful, clear blue plate breaking. And it did happen the next morning. And she just knew what it meant. Strange, but true. My son, it was weird because he even had a dream that Hillary Clinton had put a crown on Trump's head. And this is when he was very young. I mean, he's 15 now. So I think this was in 2015 when he dreamt this. This was 7 years ago. It might have been the beginning of 2016, maybe so, because 15 was the primaries, right? I can't remember. So it was weird because we already knew what was going to happen. And we knew that even then the elections were rigged. A lot of people don't want to believe that. People want to think if their side wins, then it's not. And if the other side wins, then it's rigged. Okay, but we knew, she knew, they knew that Trump was going to be president. We already knew it was going to happen because of my son's dream. It's weird because when he has the prophetic ones, he knows. He'll come to me and tell me. Sometimes it's not like prophecy dreams, they're dreams of the past, like secrets in the past that are dormant. You know what I mean? And I don't have a lot of dreams where Spirit comes to me directly and gives me a message. But when he does, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? This one was legitimately, it was Jesus telling a parable. And in the parable, it was weird. It's like he was sitting in front of this crowd and on these steps, and he was giving a parable in between two children. He said, bring me a 2-year-old. And they brought a 2-year-old. And he said, put it in a box and what do you call it? Close it, put a lid on it, and tie it up and give it to Satan to be, I guess, tormented. That's what it was, to be tormented by Satan. And then he said, bring me a newborn. And they brought a newborn baby. And he said, put it in a pound box. I still remember that phrase. It was weird. He said, put it in a pound box. And the pound box looked kind of like a little shoebox. And he said, swaddle it, don't cover it, take it to a safe place to be protected for a time. And then he said, do you want to know what the parable means? And of course I was like, yeah, what does it mean? He said, the 2-year-old is the 2,000-year-old church. He said, the newborn is the new church. And the 2,000-year-old church will be tormented by Satan for a time. The newborn church, the newborn baby will be protected for a time. If you look in Revelation, it even talks about this woman that is protected, in Revelation 12 or whatever. Long story short, I know what he was saying. And the thing is the 2,000-year-old church really has become a very political, a control mechanism. If you really look at the 2,000-year-old church, and I'm not talking, I know some nitwit out there who really doesn't know much is going to go, that's a Catholic church. I know Catholics are evil. Catholics are not 2,000-year-old, hun. Hate to break it to you. The closest ones might be the Coptic church, but that's not what he meant. He meant the the formation of the man-made church. I'm getting thirsty. Hold on. You don't forget what he said. We are the temple. We are the temple. We are the church. Our body is. It's inside of us. And, this man-made church that has been around for 2,000 years is extremely political. It acts exactly like the Pharisees Jesus was against. It tells everyone what is and what isn't okay. It controls people, and it actually seeks to press down and oppress anyone that comes up against it. Jesus was called evil. He was called crazy by the religious elites then. And that's exactly what the man-made church that's 2,000 years old does today. Every Protestant church, every Catholic church, the whole body of man-made church. Because you remember how Jesus even said, the church should be built on you, Petra, when he's talking to Peter. And that's why he renamed him Peter. But he even also told Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Because he was oftentimes invoking Satan whenever he was going out of his way to go against the will of God. It tells you in the Bible repeatedly that we have to go with spirit in us. The man-made church is consistently telling its people to go against what their spirit is calling them to do to please them. Okay, this newborn is the new church that is still not here yet. It sort of is. It's being born in us as newborns. We are the bride of Christ. We are the church. The problem is the man-made church is like this oppressive beast that wants to keep us down. It does not want us to have the freedom, to have the power to be what we are meant to be. If you go and watch a lot of near-death experiences online, you will see countless people give examples of what they saw when they died, when they came back. None of them said we need to be more religious. Some of them went back to being more religious, but for the most part, they saw the light, the love, the family, and everything was a condition of the heart. It's in here. It's not in these rules, these man-made rules that Jesus fought against again and again and again. Okay. And it's crazy because okay, look at the body of the church today. Okay. It is rampant with porn addicts. It is rampant with abuse. It's like they justify treating women and children the way that they do. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's tons of beautiful, loving, caring Christians in the Christian church. I know that. But they suppress and they hide way too much what's going on. I have heard countless women talking about what happens when they've been abused by their husbands. I think there's this woman named Sarah McDougal, and I'm no super Christian-y person, so I know she wouldn't like what I do, and I don't care, but she does good work in her own right, in that she calls out how if a woman is trying to leave an abusive husband or a destructive husband or a neglectful husband who is a porn addict and sexually abuses her and violates her and mistreats her, the church oftentimes sides with him. Countless times. I've been through it. Countless times the church does not protect women from abuse. It does not protect us from horrifying experiences. They just really pressure you to stick with it and stick with it and stick with it. It's like they want you to go against even what the Bible says and let a man mistreat you and abuse you and hurt you. Okay? It's not okay. It's not. And it's so weird because you'll sit here and say, oh, a good example is conservative Christians. I have a bunch of them in my family, being from the South, right? They will judge the LGBTQ movement, through and through. They still think that, if you're gay is a sin kind of thing. And yet they do not address the molestation and the abuse that's going on in the church. I was molested by other Baptists, okay, while my family was too busy playing canasta to give two shits about me. They don't really address this stuff. They'll point fingers at people who live a lifestyle that they don't like, but they will not address the abuse going on in the church. They will not address the rape, the molestation, the horrible, horrible things going on in the man-made church. They are pointing fingers at everyone else, but they won't get busy cleaning up their own mess. You know what I mean? It is crazy. And I will say that I know I had another dream where it was like the old man-made church is so afraid of this new church that empowers us intuitively. Okay? The high priestess energy of us women being in tune with our divine power, it scares man-made church to death. To death. And I remember seeing it. It's like this man-made church with this stained glass and the water of floodgates like breaking through it. And the fear, these priests, the fear that they have, they do not want us to be empowered. They want us to be squashed down and be little fragile beings that surrender and submit to their, I mean, I already know, like, I'm getting literally no impressions on this channel. My other channel, my tarot channel, plenty. It's growing like crazy. This one, none. And that's because probably in one of my first videos, my second video, whatever, I had brought up some things that gets you shadow banned. So I didn't want to bring it up too much. But the family that owns that Babel Tower, they also own the Swiss Guard and the Vatican. Just saying. They don't want us empowered, okay? They run this world based on monetary shit, and they don't care if they destroy it. It doesn't matter what side you are on politically. They fund both sides. It doesn't matter if you're a Protestant or a Catholic. They fund both sides, And so Jesus is delivering it over to Satan. He's done with it. I will tell you another crazy dream I had, and this wasn't that long ago. It was a few months ago. And when this one came, it really did kind of help me get through this because it was crazy. It was like there was war going on everywhere. And even like spaceships and aliens coming in and the whole thing. It was like it was windy and chaotic and crazy. And I felt the voice of the Lord talk to me. And it said, if you know these three things, you'll get through this just fine. It will alter the course of the rest of your life and every decision that you make, and you'll be okay. And I was like, then what? What is it? Because this whole world was going crazy, right? He said, first off, you love me. And I was like, well, yeah, I love you. And the second one, he said, you need me. And I was like, obviously, right? And it was like, I felt like I had to wait and wait and wait to get that third one. And he said, and I love you. And it just, the truth of that, knowing like that he loves me, that he guides me, that he's doing this work in me, that I am actually helping so many hurt souls on my tarot channel. They brokenhearted come to me and I love on them. Jesus did that too. He loved on the brokenhearted, okay? And I know that I'm going on the calling I'm meant to go on. I've always been an intuitive. I've always been a psychic. I've always been gifted in this area. I almost died as an infant. I've always been different. But I have been suppressed by this 2,000-year-old church for so long. And I let it try to guilt me into something I'm not. And when he said that, I knew, like, I have to stop basing my value on what men say I am and start basing my value on what God says I am. And what's so weird is even when I was very, very young, I remember having like, I guess you can't see it in this thing, but I would read, like, I was talking like 19, 20, and I was reading like, the Egyptian Book of the Dead and so many things along with the Bible. And I had tarot cards and I was into all of this stuff because I just felt this knowing. And I just like, you have this guilt for it because the church is like bad, 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 wrong, wrong, wrong. But yet they will justify so many other things, And so I remember every time I would read in Revelation where it says you have forgotten your first love, God would remind me that I found him there. I didn't find him faking it in a church with all of these people who are spiritual babies, can only grow so much, and they're very stumped. You know, it doesn't matter how many churches I've been in, no matter how much I love them, no matter how much they love me, no matter how good their intentions were, they allowed the brainwashing of these seminary schools and things to stump them spiritually, so they never grew to the point where Jesus needed them to grow. You know, he said, if you believe in me, you can do the same things as me and even greater. And we as humans have allowed ourselves to be stumped down to a level where we are impotent spiritually, and we don't accomplish even near the amount of things that Christ did, because we're like constantly being guilted that anything psychic, anything intuitive, anything empathic, anything divine is evil. Who do you think told you that? Who do you think happened to translate the Bible that way? Was it or was it not the same people controlling you today that are actually playing God in your life? You know, it's kind of like even sorcery and magic, really the local pharmacy, that's what that is. You look at the interpretation, that is the pharmacy. Well, a lot of what people call today as magic was just common then. It wasn't even considered magic to them. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. But using herbs and oils and incense and stones and stuff, I mean, ancient Israel was full of it. And I'm talking in the temple of God, you know, and pharmacy is accepted. It's even proven fact, even Tylenol alters the mind. Pharmacy is from that word pharmakia, pharmaceia, however you want to pronounce it, that has to do with like using drugs to alter your mind for magical purposes. Okay, they have everyone on antidepressants, numbing their ability to, like, why are so many people anxious and upset and depressed? Because everything in their body and soul is saying alarm bell, alert, alert. This is not the way we should be living. This is not healthy. This isn't right. And they're having to numb it down because they have to be good little people and follow along with the tide, right? And you know, even Tylenol has been proven to alter your mind, to make you more impulsive and sometimes angrier, okay? How many people in this man-made church are going and picking up the prescriptions every single month, but they're going to judge someone for using tarot, or they're going to judge someone for using a candle or, you know, a stone or something. And they'll laugh at it and call all this stuff whatever, frou-frou and all this stuff. And it's just because they're so spiritually stunted. You know, they don't understand their divine beings, that every single thing in this life has a meaning and has a purpose. Because of it, you'll see so many pagans that have a happier life and are more in tune with nature and with spirit than Christians are. Christians have been dumbed down. You know, they've been actually suppressed for a purpose, and it's sad. It really is. I know, I think I want to do eventually like a video on all the dreams of deities that have visited me in dreams. I've been visited by like deities, legit, like Odin and Osiris, and one from India, like Vishnu or the Shiva. And I have, God, I know there's more. It's strange because some of them you never knew before, you know? And it's so weird because once you stop being fear-based, you realize that there's so much room for love. God's ultimate goal is to heal us all. His goal is to heal every aspect of all humanity. There are so many beings in the world and the universe than we understand. You know, it even tells you in the Bible that humans that make fun of celestial beings know not what they do. They are brute beasts, mere animals with base instincts. Basically saying that they're idiots and stupid. Not even Michael would talk down to Satan in front of God. You know, when Christians feel higher and better than other people because they talk down to pagans or make fun of them, and they're like, well, we're not supposed to be yoked to unbelievers. I hate to say it, but a lot of pagans have more belief than you do. They do. A lot of them have so much faith and so much connection to spirit that they're in more alignment through being that temple with spirit than a Christian is. You know, you look at a lot of people in the modern day church, they don't realize how much they spend their energy worshiping, whether it's CNN News or Fox News or football or stock market or whatever. They put a lot of energy into very fleshly based things. Things that will never ever accomplish getting into a divine state, getting into your power. And you'll see so many people who are pagans who are, because they're getting in touch with what we're meant to be in touch with. We've been duped. You guys need to remember, okay, the Catholic Church, it is part of that 2,000-year-old church, okay? But we also have the Coptic Church, we have the Orthodox Church, there are a lot of other old churches that a lot of people here in my country conveniently forget. It's so funny. Okay, the Romans feared us, okay? I am like 100% Northwestern European. I'm Irish, Scottish, Scandinavian, Wales, and some British Northwestern European. The Romans feared us because we were so in tune with nature and spirit that we were ethereal. We almost shape-shifted. It came in and out of the mist. We were so different to these big city, carnal, fleshly people. And the things they wrote about us, the Celts and the Druids and the Pictish people and the Vikings and Scandinavians, they were frightened of us. Okay? They had to break us down. There were already Christians on the British Isles, by the way. And they were also Druid too. They called Jesus the best Druid of them all, like the highest Druid. Like they claimed Jesus was already there. If you look, there were even ancient Israelites crossing into the British Isles since way before Christ. I know all of it. Look at the Stone of Destiny in Scotland. You look at the David's harp, like on Guinness beer, okay? The red right hand. Come on, guys. If you know your history, your anthropology, your ancient history, you would understand this stuff. But there are so many people that say, well, if I'm a Christian, all I need to know is Christ. Just like Paul said, I don't need to be wise in any other way. Okay, but Paul was already extremely wise and educated. So he didn't need to learn anymore. That's why he wanted to just focus on Christ. It doesn't give you an excuse to be an ignorant, stupid dweeb. The simple fact is our pagan ancestors were very, very powerful. We were. But the Romans wanted to squish that down, and they didn't know how to do it. They had to come and replace the Christianity that had mixed with Druidry as some of the most powerful abilities. When you take the pagan understanding of nature and spirituality and past, present, future, and psychic abilities, and you mix it with Christ, you have something so potent, it terrifies the enemy. It terrifies them. And, the Romans wanted to replace that and force it to be their version of Catholicism, okay? And, of course, our ancestors fought very hard to have a lot of our traditions interwoven into Catholicism. That's why you see, Christmas at Yule, and Easter is mixed with, Oster and all this stuff. Like, it's weird because Easter, why do we even use the word Easter? That is pagan. You know what I mean? Passover Sunday makes sense. Easter Sunday, not so much. I mean, our ancestors fought very, very hard to keep some of their culture. But when this modern man-made church is suppressing our gifts on behalf of this, evil Babylonian style takeover that is obsessed with money and greed, and telling us we should feel ashamed for our gifts, enough is enough. God loves us. He wants to heal us. He does not want us separated. Jesus came to bring division among all of these arrogant, hypocritical assholes out here. But he wants us healed. Even the arrogant assholes he wants healed. He wants all of us healed. He wants every single one of us healed. We cannot do it by suppressing our gifts. We cannot do it by being obsessed with the stock market or stupid slot machines or, football and news and all this stuff. That's all run and owned by the same family, guys. Begins with an R. Look it up. Anyway, I love you and I bless you. Until next time.